When Jesus spoke about the rapture, he didn't leave us guessing or waiting for a secret code to unlock. He gave one unmistakable test that defines who's truly ready. For centuries, people have chased signs in the skies, watched blood moons, and followed global tensions in the Middle East as if those events would reveal the moment of his return. But the real signal, the one Jesus himself emphasized, has been sitting in plain sight for over 2,000 years, written in red letters. It's not hidden in symbolism or buried under theology. It's direct, clear, and deeply personal. The tragedy is that many believers have missed it completely. Jesus made it clear that this test isn't about how emotional your worship is, how often you study prophecy, or how loudly you declare his name. Many will say, "Lord, Lord," and still be left behind, not because they didn't believe, but because they misunderstood what he said. The real test isn't about belief alone. It's about alignment. It's not about passion. It's about obedience. That's the difference between those who expect to go and those who actually will. In Matthew 7:21, Jesus gave the defining line. "Not everyone who says to me, 'Lord, Lord,' will enter the kingdom of heaven, but only the one who does the will of my Father." This wasn't poetry or a metaphor. It was the standard. He didn't say those who believe the most, or those who feel closest to me. He said, those who do. Obedience, not emotion, not excitement, is the mark of readiness. The rapture won't reward enthusiasm. It will reveal who has been quietly walking in the will of the Father all along. Many Christians treat spiritual life like a performance test, assuming belief equals preparation. They cry and worship, quote Revelation, attend conferences, and watch every prophecy video, yet ignore the one thing Jesus actually pointed to: daily obedience. Belief changes your thoughts, but obedience changes your life. You can believe God is holy, yet continue in compromise. You can believe Jesus forgave you, yet refuse to forgive others. Belief recognizes truth, but obedience lives it. That's the uncomfortable line that separates the ready from the unready. Jesus knew many would confuse spiritual emotion with spiritual intimacy. He described people who cast out demons, performed miracles, and preached powerfully, and yet he would say to them, "I never knew you." Not you drifted, but never. Their entire spiritual identity rested on what they did, not who they were before God. They mistook activity for a relationship. That's the warning he gave, not to the unbelievers, but to the church, to those who think they're ready because they look the part. The shocking truth is that the rapture isn't about outward performance. It's the revealing of inward reality. It won't divide believers from atheists. It will divide the obedient from the disobedient. The separation won't be based on emotion or expression, but on alignment. The wise and foolish virgins both expected him, both waited, both carried lamps, yet only half entered, because only half prepared in obedience. The oil represented something lived out: daily devotion that costs something, consistency that continues even when no one sees. That's what Jesus meant when he said, "Only those who do the will of my Father." This truth exposes a painful illusion. So many think readiness is about watching the world, following signs, decoding prophecy charts, or predicting the next big event. But Jesus directed attention inward. He didn't say, "Look at the skies." He said, "Look at your life." Because the rapture is not the start of a new reality. The unveiling of the one you're already living. Those walking in obedience are already aligned with heaven's rhythm. When the moment comes, it won't catch them off guard. It'll be confirmation of a life already surrendered. Obedience isn't glamorous. It happens in silence, in choices that don't make headlines. It looks like turning away from sin when temptation whispers, forgiving the person who doesn't deserve it, being honest when lying would be easier, loving when bitterness feels justified. These moments are where eternity takes shape. Every decision writes your readiness. This isn't about perfection. It's about direction. Are you living toward the will of God or away from it? Many will feel secure because of what they know about prophecy. But Jesus didn't say, "Know the signs." He said, "Do the will." Knowledge can inform you, but obedience transforms you. It's easy to be fascinated by what's happening in the world, but Jesus is watching what's happening in the heart. The foolish virgins weren't ignorant. They were unaligned. They believed in his coming, yet neglected preparation. Their lamps burned out because their obedience ran dry. The rapture isn't God suddenly deciding who's worthy. It's the public unveiling of a choice already made in secret. Every day, in every small act of surrender, you're declaring where you belong. The question isn't whether you expect him, it's whether your life matches that expectation. Those who live surrendered won't be surprised. They'll be taken because they've already been living in the Father's will. Those who live by emotion or religious habit will be left confused, not because God changed his word, but because they never lived by it. That's why this warning is not meant to create fear, but clarity. Fear paralyzes, but clarity calls you to action. Jesus didn't say try harder. He said follow me. Following means daily obedience. It's about taking his words seriously enough to let them reshape how you think, speak, forgive, and love. The rapture isn't for the perfect. It's for the faithful, those whose faith turned into obedience. Imagine the moment when the trumpet sounds. For some, it will be the fulfillment of what they've already been living a homecoming. For others, it will be the exposure of what they never truly surrendered. That is why Jesus' words hit so deeply. Not everyone who says Lord will enter, but only those who do the will of my Father. This isn't about sounding spiritual, it's about living surrendered. Expectation without obedience is spiritual procrastination. If you want to understand readiness, don't look at how much you believe, but at how much your belief has changed you. Does your faith show up in your choices? Are you forgiving, serving, walking humbly? Because that's the measure Jesus gave. The real test is happening now in how you respond to conviction, in what you do when no one's watching, in how you love when it's difficult. Heaven sees those quiet acts. Each one is preparation for the moment that's coming. For those living in obedience, the rapture won't be a shock. It'll be the next step in a relationship that's already real. But for those waiting without transformation, it will be a heartbreak. God's standard never changed. He made it plain from the beginning, only those who do the will of my Father. That's the final filter, the dividing line. And the truth is, it's not about fear of missing out. It's about the joy of being ready. Because obedience isn't a burden. It's the evidence that love is real. So as the world grows louder with predictions and chaos, remember the test Jesus gave. It's not about watching the skies. It's about aligning your heart. Every act of obedience draws you closer to that moment. Every surrendered decision prepares you for his return. The question isn't whether you expect him. The question is whether your life proves it. The test isn't tomorrow. It is now.